every single week, we always do the introduction at least once over again. And there's always a bit where you go, welcome to Modern Horror Stories. Okay, no, I'm going to do that again. I think we should include one of those each week. I think every single week there should be one false start. Make it last about 2 seconds, 3 seconds on YouTube, and then go into the video proper.
Okay. Not this week, though.
No.
Welcome back to Modern Horror Stories podcast with Jamie, Dave, and Alex. And today we're going to be talking about the 2016 film Terrifier, directed by Damien Leone. Actually, let's start again. Welcome to Modern Horror Stories podcast with Jamie, Dave, and Alex. And today we're going to be talking about the 2016 movie Terrifier, directed by Damien Leone. Shall we reveal our scores for this movie?
Damn it.
There we go. Oh, crikey.
First, it was blurry. Oh,
it was blurry.
God. You could see it.
But we all got to see it. So we're going to be discussing this film. At some point, there may be spoilers, in which case you'll get a visual warning that spoilers are about to occur. But who would like to kick this off with a synopsis?
I'll go, because there's not much of a synopsis to do this week. Because we got a very kind of like narratively thin film. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. But basically, we follow a couple of girls who are on a night out. They're struggling to get home, and they are followed by Art the Clown, who is this sort of... He's the most evil type of clown there is. He's a mime, which is surely the most terrifying kind of clown. And it's basically... I mean, there's not a huge amount of plot to it, is there? But I really, really like this film, I've got to say. First time I watched it, I think I liked it more, because when you watch a certain number of horror films, you're worrying you're getting a certain amount of immunity to some of the gore and guts and horror. And this film I definitely didn't have any immunity to. I think it's fair to say that. There are some... Okay, here we go, spoilers. The scene where Tara's friend is having her body split lengthways is just unbelievably difficult to watch. And yeah, there's something to be said about that, I think. Also, I think what's wonderful about this film, and somebody pointed this out to me a couple of days ago, was that Art the Clown is really one of the first sort of franchise villains that we've had in a while. Sort of new ones, anyway. As you know, we've got Chucky and Freddy and Jason and all of these different characters, but we don't really have that many ones that are sort of new for the 21st century. These big franchise killers, and I think Art the Clown's brilliant. But the way that he moves and the way that he's acted by David Howard Thornton, I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Art the Clown is great. I'm jumping in here early to say how much I like Art the Clown, because I didn't really like the film, but he's great. And the character is a really interesting character. Looks amazing, black and white, pretty much all black and white, which is extra great when it's splattered in blood. He looks amazing within it. For me, he's definitely the best thing in it.
Oh, he is the film, really, isn't he? I mean, there's not much else to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really, really like this film. But I know how flawed it is as a film, because I mean, it's so thin as a film, because so much of it's just gore. And again, as I said, that doesn't bother me. It does what it does very well. And I think what's good about it is it doesn't sort of sell you on any false promises. it's called Terrifier. That's what it does. I think as a title, it's a really clever one, just because it gives you that sense of B moviness. And I think it is just a really, really very well made B movie. And it does sort of feed into a lot of that sort of exploitation thing. But we haven't let Jamie speak at all.
I also enjoyed the film, and I agree. David Howard Thornton is by far and away the star attraction of the film. He is his physicality, as you said, the way he moves his face, how he portrays his reactions to things. There is so much clowning in his performance that I'm sure Alex and I have both had clowning training. Have you had clowning training?
I wish I had.
Oh, we had 2 lessons in it when I was at courtyard. But yeah, he does actually do some what I would consider real clowning, which is, he's always playing to an audience. He's always finding the humor in things, and sort of repeating little actions. And the way he's like, ta-da, when he's got some sort of horrific way to kill you, is he just plays it really, really wonderfully. And you get this amazing balance between the sort of childlike, innocent humor of a clown and the gruesome, brutal murders that he goes on to commit. And he can really switch between light and jovial to absolutely menacing in an instant. Like, his face will just switch. And part of that is the makeup. The makeup is incredible, but I would say the majority of it is the actor himself. He does an incredible job.
Did anyone else think she looked like was the girl who played Tara, who's the sort of? Did anyone think she looked exactly like Sidney Prescott?
That's exactly what I was going to mention. That's why I was
remarkable.
Yeah,
it was really sort of quite strange for a bit.
Yeah, it was an incredible likeness. I'm sure part of that is intentional, hair and makeup.
I think it must be, because they don't look at all alike in real life. Interesting. It was quite difficult to watch, actually, occasionally, because I was just going, am I what? Well, I couldn't quite. I had this weird cognitive dissonance of watching a young Sidney Prescott on screen again.
Yeah.
But it hadn't occurred to me what you said. No, you're completely right about the fact that he has got a proper clown persona. Art, it really sticks to the kind of, well, the sort of craft of it, which is really funny. Yeah. He's really dedicated to being a clown, and I think that's absolutely great. It does remind me a bit of Freddy Krueger, I think, as a sort of that kind of laughing, joking, sort of butcher that you get. And yes, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing sort of how many more disgusting things he does in the second one.
Yeah, as you said, the splitting someone in half lengthways is quite a unique method of killing someone, and they really hold the moment whilst that's happening. So
yeah, it does have a signature kill. I think most good horror movies have a signature kill or a signature moment. And I think I was commenting a little while ago when we were talking about You're Next. I didn't feel it did have that signature moment, and this definitely this slicing down the middle is something that everyone thinks of, I think, as soon as you mention this movie. Amazing, well done. I did watch it through my fingers. The second time I've watched it twice. Second time, I actually enjoyed the film slightly more the second time I watched it. I was going to give it 2 out of 10, but second time along, I did see a lot more craft, and there is a lot of craft in the in all the kills, in all the gore. I think the director actually was a special effects guy as well. He may have done the special effects for this, I think.
I was going to say we should probably give a shout out to whoever did the makeup and special effects, because they do look incredible.
Yes.
I mean, it's really quite sort of, you do forget sometimes, even though there is this sort of comically large amount of blood, you do sometimes forget that it is fake blood, because it's you're so sort of invested in how disgusting everything is. But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about You're Next not necessarily having a signature kill, because I was chatting to somebody about it and they said, "Oh, did you like the blender bit?" That was their first.
Okay.
But no, I mean, not to the extent of this film. Not that, because that will just, it's the second time I watched it, and even then, I'd forgotten quite how brutal it was.
Funnily enough, the blender bit was my least favorite kill in You're Next. It was, I felt it was the most least realistic, in terms of how it played out, and even in terms of the prosthetics. I felt the prosthetics and stuff were really realistic all the way through, apart from the blender, and just the physics of it felt less realistic than the others.
I think for me, in that moment in You're Next with the blender, my only issue was that I think that was the sort of peak of her anger. And I don't understand why you'd start coming up with more inventive ways to use the anger you got. You'd come up with less inventive ways.
Yeah.
Well, I would anyway.
So one other thing I liked about this movie, so we've been super positive about this, and I'm going to change soon. But one other thing I liked about this is just, I think it cost $100,000, and I think the bulk of the money was raised on Indiegogo. And I just love the ambition of that. I would love to be putting together some kind of theatrical film project via Indiegogo. And obviously he did it on the back of the shorts that also featured Art the Clown. We should probably mention those as well. That character appeared in a couple of shorts before appearing in Terrifier.
And the Ninth Circle and All Hallows Eve.
So the shorts were called The Ninth Circle, and one of the shorts was called Terrifier.
Oh.
And there was a feature film called All Hallows Eve, all of which feature Art the Clown, but not played by David Howard Thornton.
And do they feature Art the Clown in sort of a particularly big role? Is he the main villain, or is he sort of a minor?
I've only seen one of the shorts, and he wasn't the main villain in he was part of it, but he wasn't. In fact, I enjoyed it, the short that I saw, much more than I did this movie. One other thing I liked about this movie was the fact at one point he just pulls out a gun and shoots.
Yes, yeah, I love that.
And I thought, crikey, serial killer slashers don't normally do that. They're so preoccupied with super complicated kills, and he just pulls out a gun and goes bang, which I kind of like. So can I delve into the things I didn't like?
Yeah, let's start being negative. Go on, Dave, because I think we're all going to say one of the same things, at least.
Well, I mean, it's only one thing really, but it's quite a big thing, and that is I feel that everything is sacrificed in the name of gore and surprise scares.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. And I call them surprise scares as opposed to jump scares because they don't make sense. A lot of these surprise scares don't make sense. The passage of time is all over the place in this movie. The amount of time he needs to set up certain of these events while other events are occurring, it's all over the place. The order of the things also doesn't seem to make sense sometimes, and the spatial logistics are just all over the place. There's a scene in which the pest controller's mate turns up to the big house, and there's a big corridor, and he looks behind him. God, there's nothing there, and he just turns back, and then Art just appears behind him. There's no logic between the way the characters move around. It's almost surreal. And yeah, everything is sacrificed in the name of gore and blood, and this is probably going to be sacrilegious to fans of this film. Is by the end, I felt there was too much Art the Clown.
Really?
I mean, he was the driving force of this. But when he appears on the scooter, and I know a lot of people would probably love him riding around on the scooter. I'm like, oh, come on. And with a lot of slasher killer films, they kind of used them very sparingly, and I thought this was another difference because the killer's up front and central pretty much the whole film. I think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, and people could put it in the comments below. But we see more of Art the Clown than any other character. Does that really often happen with a
It's
slasher
very
movie?
unusual.
Where you're pretty much you've got more screen time to the killer than all the others, and so for that reason alone, it just it drops down to 3 out of 10 for me. And the last thing is that it's just not my style of horror film. So whilst I would give it 3 out of 10, I think there were people who absolutely love this, even more than you guys. But this is not for me, really.
I think for me, I can forgive so many of this film's faults because it's called Terrifier, because it stuck a label on it saying this is a B movie, this is exploitation, this is going to be just sort of plotless blood and gore, and they haven't lied about it at all. I'm actually very, very able to forgive this film for all of its faults because I don't think it sells it as anything else. I mean, this film is definitely not without faults. It's got a lot, and you're completely right about the movement of art and the logistics of how anyone gets anywhere. But at the same time, art survives the film by the end of it somehow. So, you don't never know quite how supernatural he is. You see him putting makeup on, so he's obviously human to some extent, but he's immortal. And there's apparently something very strange that happens in the second film. And so I'm not going to kind of try and find these logical fallacies because they made a film called Terrifier, and I appreciate that for what it is.
I actually quite liked his ability to just appear out of seemingly nowhere. It reminded me of Halloween. Michael Myers had this incredible ability to fall out of a window and then somebody
they'd be gone, yeah.
Gone. Like what is he a ghost or what? I think this strikes a similar sort of it conjured up an essence of that these slashers always seem to be able to get somewhere faster than the protagonists or get behind the door and you don't know how they got behind that door. And it seems to be almost like a meme in these kinds of horror films, I feel. So to me, it felt just kind of cozy that he was appearing out of nowhere. And I didn't actually notice any of his appearances that struck me as completely impossible, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough to the logistics of it. Everything felt to me quite real until the very end. So I was really thrown by at the ending. It just ends very supernaturally. And I didn't see any build up to that personally when I was watching the film. I felt like I assumed that this person was a human and everything we were seeing was just real stuff, a human and other humans. And then we get to the end and then suddenly, actually, no, this is some kind of spirit or wraith or demon or we don't know what, but there's some big spoiler here. He blows his brains out and literally you see bits coming out of the back of his head. And he's declared dead. He's taken to a mortuary and then he pops back to life. And yeah, that was another thing actually I wasn't too keen on. So the film sets up a way for the story to continue in a sequel without this particular iteration of Art the Clown. It's like it's almost like he sires a new Terrifier.
Oh, is that how you interpret it? Like there's kind of almost like a sort of lineage of Terrifiers.
Yeah, because the lone survivor then attacks the TV presenter in a similar sort of way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, she's taking up the mantle of this sort of.
I've got a feeling you might be about to spoil the third Terrifier film, because I think she
wow.
does. I
Okay.
think she becomes this sort of accomplice in the same way that I can't remember in which Saw film it was, but one of the
Oh yeah. I think it's Saw
torture
3.
agents becomes something like that.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that's the way they go in the third one. And I wanted Sydney Prescott to hang around so that she became that character, but there we are.
I felt that too as well. If it would have read a lot better if the Sydney Preston if Tara was that character, because it definitely felt like Victoria was. Is it Victoria?
Yeah.
She was like a side character, and
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't feel any as much investment in her. But
I'd actually forgotten that Tara died and that she was replaced by the other girl, because I'd watched this film before, and I thought that it was Tara the whole way the whole way through. That was my memory of the film, and I'd completely forgotten that she got shot in the head and was replaced by Vic. And yeah, no, I didn't need Vic as a character. It could have been Tara, I thought.
I mean, you're using the word character very loosely here, because
Sure.
I didn't get too much investment in any of these, especially since you guys slagged off the characters who are in the opening of your net, the lack of character development. And basically, we just see two girls in a car and then they get killed.
But you've called a film Terrifier, and I'll forgive it. That's my rule here. They're so upfront about it. They're not selling us anything. They've made 2 short films. They've had Art the Clown in it, and then they've set up a fundraiser and said, "Look, we'd like to make a full-length film with Art the Clown," and that's what they've done. That's what they've fulfilled their brief. I thought. I assume that's what they put on Indiegogo. We want to make a feature-length film with Art the Clown, and they did.
And on that note, I think we can wrap up this podcast. Let us know in the comments below if you enjoyed Terrifier, or maybe like me, not your kind of thing. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how we would improve the movie Terrifier. And next weekend, we're going to be talking about Terrifier 2 and hopefully 3 very soon. Oh, God. Yeah. Let's wrap up there.
no one's forcing us to do these. We don't have to. You don't have to watch those films.
Bye, everyone.
We just won't have a say when this is released.
Yeah,
Or when we filmed it. Yeah.
we filmed this in 2022.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
We filmed this in 2018.
We can finish this review by saying, I reckon they might get a sequel out of this. Maybe a whole franchise.
Okay, quick. I'll go cut my hair. And,
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to draw back my goatee.
Yeah.
Oh. It's the part of the show that annoys me the most, where we're like,
Yeah. That's my
Okay.
favourite bit, to be honest. I love it.
yeah, that's where all the viewers drop out.
Yeah.
The viewer drops out.